Hi, Peter Charles here, Folk to Fly Fishing. And today let's look at tying the Grizzly King with the feather wing. Now, you might have already seen my video where I tied it with a hair wing. We're going to do basically the same fly, only with a feather wing instead. I did that with the Black Ghost. I figured kind of cool to do it with the Grizzly King as well. So let's get going and look at the materials. Our hook is a size 4 in a streamer, 2 extra heavy, 3 extra long. Our thread is a black 8/0 in Vivas. Our rib is a Mylar in a size 14, and we're going to be using the silver side. We're using a green floss. Our tail is red Schlappen. Our hackle is the soft grizzly, and also the wing is going to be done out of grizzly as well. So let's get going. Bring it to just in front of the hook point. Now for our tail. The tail on this fly is not particularly long. Now for our rib. And our floss. Now just wind back smoothly. Keep the material on top. Now to wind our floss. Now I notice my tail is moved. Take a moment to fix it. If you find your winds are getting a little bit too spaced, back up. Now for our rib. One turn at the back as usual. Come forward. Next up is our hackle. And you can see I prepped the feather as usual. Tying in stripping one side and just cutting a little tying in notch. Actually, that notch is a little big. I'll trim it back a bit. There we go. Sweep your hackles back. Always come in front of the previous turn. If you find a barb sticking forward, take a moment to push it back so it doesn't get trapped in front of the turn. There we go. And finally our grizzly wing. This is consisting of 4 feathers. This is kind of dense. I'm showing you in my previous fly with grizzly, I used feathers that didn't have a lot of web and you could see through them. I've deliberately chosen dense feathers this time just so you can see the difference. This produces a much stronger profile. So as usual, come around and slack. Just pull up, go softly, then pull up so it doesn't turn. Now, if you've got problems with it turning, double check. You know, here it turned a little bit on me, so let's unwind it. We'll leave that problem in. Make sure I'm right on top. Pinch, Come up. Take a moment to check. Yeah, that's a lot better. Now you can see how long those feathers are in relationship to the body. And you might say to yourself, you know, that doesn't look very traditional. And you're right, it doesn't. But what I try to do with my feather wings and also my hair wings when I'm sort of not copying a pattern faithfully is I try to get the proportions of the wing and the body roughly to the same proportions we see in a baitfish, whereas the body represents the belly section back to the anus and the wing represents the back of the fish all the way into the end of the tail. So those proportions are roughly 50% belly to the total length of the fish. That, of course, depends on the species, but for baitfish, that's roughly about right. So that's what I try to achieve when I put these wings together, is to get something that's running about 50%. So you can see the body and the tail are about 50, 55, 60% of the wing. And so that gives us the feeling of the proportions of a baitfish. So, as I say, it's not traditional. The way I'm doing it, I would have a shorter wing if it was traditional, but this is the way I like to proportion those wings so they're a little bit closer to baitfish proportions. Now, as far as using that denser, webbier feather, you could use a thinner one. One of the reasons why you might want to do it this way is if your local waters are stained and you want a denser profile. You know, that's a good reason for choosing a webbier feather that creates a thicker, denser profile compared to using a feather that is quite sparse, low amount of web, and you can see right through it. So, you know, you can put in 4 of these grizzly feathers, and you could still see right through them. You can't see through these. So, as I say, make your choices deliberately. If I was fishing clear water all the time, I wouldn't have a wing like this. But dirty water, sure, why not? So there we go, the Grizzly King. Let me see if we straighten those feathers up. There we go, that looks pretty. There we go, the Grizzly King feather wing. And as I say, that should do quite well, especially in stained water where you want a denser profile. Cheers.